Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The very mention of her name sends a thrill up the legs of leftists and a chill up the spine of conservatives. She became a rock star after she knocked off the fourth highest ranking Democrat in a primary last summer, then was elected as a freshman congresswoman at the tender age of 29. As a self declared Democratic socialist a la Bernie Sanders, but about 50 years younger. So, is all the attention, the love, and hate she's attracting from both sides of the aisle likely to last, or will she be more the shooting star who falls just as dramatically as she has risen? Here to debate that question is LibertyNation.com editor in chief Lisa K. Donner, who, for the first time in recorded history, has a somewhat different opinion than her husband, me, about the charismatic Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. Hi, Lise.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
I am okay. Now, let's put the ideology aside for a minute. The young woman is an avowed socialist who's become the face of the ever expanding left wing base of the Democrat Party, and we both thoroughly reject her ideology. Let's instead focus on whether her cultural appeal as a charismatic young woman of color is the right kind of fresh face for the Democrats to put forward in contrast to the old morticians, Pelosi and Schumer, whose response to Trump on Tuesday night looked like something straight out of Saturday Night Live. What say you?
Or the Lurch and Morticia. That was a perfect
Yeah,
analogy.
Gomez, Lurch, and Morticia, or Gomez and Morticia. No, Gomez was too dignified.
Yeah, I think it was Lurch and Morticia. But anyway, you brought up a couple of interesting points. Number one, she's a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Number two, she was a big Bernie gal. Number three, she interned at the immigration office of Senator Ted Kennedy way back when. She's a dyed-in-the-wool socialist, and but I do think there is something of a novelty there because the Democrats are kind of running retreads from Biden to Clinton to Nancy Pelosi. That she does have a novel appeal, which is why she said in her campaign, "Women like me aren't supposed to run for office." She's playing off that novelty.
Well, my point of view is that I kind of admire her in a way for getting so many uptight conservatives all hot and bothered about things like her dancing and her shoes. I mean, in a way, is she not kind of the left wing version of Trump getting constant attention? I mean, beyond the level we've seen of any freshman member of Congress we can ever remember by making outrageous statements and using social media to gain a huge audience of both lovers and haters. Isn't she kind of admirable in the way she's been able to sort of attract that kind of following?
Well, I do agree with that, Tim. I think she is trying to play the left's version of Donald Trump. In other words, I'm different, I'm special, I'm unique, and I'm going to say whatever is at the top of my brain without thinking it through and tweet it out. But there is a fundamental difference between AOC and Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been at it for a while. He understands the ups and downs, the difficulty, the trials and the tribulations. I think this young woman is just kind of riding a wave, and I sort of see her as flaming out pretty hard at some point. Maybe not any moment, but I do see her flaming out pretty badly because she doesn't have quite the gravitas or the experience, the life experience that say a Donald Trump has had.
Ah, the G word, gravitas. I had to figure that would come into the conversation somewhere. But let me make an opposite point, which is that Alexandria Ocasio Cortez has made many outrageous patently socialist statements and several inaccurate statements, like the one about why the unemployment rate is so low because so many people have multiple jobs. I mean, it didn't make any sense. So she's already made a bunch of statements that don't really make any sense or advance an ideology that's way out of the mainstream, and yet she remains, a lightning rod. So if she said all those things already and it hasn't brought her down at all, what would bring her down?
As I said, I think it's her lack of experience, her lack of being able to separate the forest from the trees. I see her as someone who is a shooting star, and I don't see her as someone with longevity. I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be. If you look at any news feed today, you'll see there's like 15, 20 stories about her. Well, wasn't that true about Michael Avenatti as well? Wasn't that true about Stormy Daniels as well? Wasn't that true about a number of people that have just gone from the scene and flamed out? And I think because this woman is not terribly bright. I mean, she did graduate uh, cum laude
And she's
from
very she's very
you.
well she's very well spoken. I mean, you may not agree with what she says, but she phrases things in a way that's, actually, betrays a fairly articulate manner, in my opinion.
Yeah, but then she says stupid stuff like the seven branches of Congress or something, of the government. I mean, she doesn't strike me as running on a lot of IQ points. That's just my take.
Let me advance a devil's advocate argument here that we're in an age, as evidenced by the shocking election of Donald Trump, where people are sick of traditional politicians. They're sick of people who are polished and who have their set talking points and poll every belief or every statement before they make it. I mean, is she not the right person for the right time, in the sense that she's not a traditional politician, just like Donald Trump?
Well, but if just being innovative, or I mean, just being novel was enough, then I think Bernie Sanders would have done better. He's pretty out there.
But he did do well. I mean, he almost stole the nomination from Hillary Clinton. He came
Yeah,
very
but where is
close.
he now? He's pretty much faded. Uh, I do not see this 29-year-old woman as having a lot of staying power. She has captured the media, the leftist media, and is their darling for the moment. Also, you have to look at what percentage of Americans are democratic socialists. Uh, is she
Not a high
representing?
percentage.
Yeah. Is she representing a lot of people when she says, I'm for a 70% tax rate? You tell me.
However, she is someone who can frame, for example, the Medicare for all issue, which would pretty much bankrupt the whole country, but she's able to position it as something that might be attractive, in the sense that, well, yeah, healthcare now seems to be a right in the eyes of the American people, and she's sort of playing into that.
Let's not forget, her and Nancy Pelosi, they're not best buddies here.
Well,
I,
that's a key point. I
and
mean,
Nancy Pelosi is going to do everything in her power to shut this woman down. I think Nancy Pelosi is not a fan of AOC.
I think there's no question about it, and I think that the speaker is very threatened by Ocasio-Cortez and the other upstart, bold, left-wing members of Congress who were elected in this last cycle. Well, interesting topic. We'll keep our eyes on her, to be sure. This young Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Thanks for joining us, Lisa.
All right, and don't forget to stop by libertynation.com. We have plenty of articles, including some on AOC, if you can take it.
And don't forget to subscribe to the LibertyNation.com YouTube channel. That is Lisa K. Donner, editor-in-chief of LibertyNation.com. And after a quick break, Talkin' Liberty.